Gas. It sucks, especially the greenhouse kind. In fact, since 1880, when fossil fuels began to be burned en masse, the world has heated up by over a degree Celsius.
This may not sound like much to you, but keep in mind 2 degrees Celsius makes extreme weather more extreme. More ecosystems will be put under major pressure, with some not surviving.
At 3 degrees Celsius, parts of Earth, especially in developing countries, might be unable to feed their populations.
Large-scale natural systems will break down. The scale and frequency of hurricanes, fires, and droughts will further increase and cause trillions in damage. Poor regions and subsistence farmers will be hit the hardest. Hundreds of millions of people will need to leave their homes.
In the 4 to 8 degree range, the apocalypse begins, the hothouse Earth, where things change into something out of Mad Max, and we're on track for a 3-degree Earth by 2050.
So obviously we don't want this. How would we combat this?
Well, switching to electrical-based devices, appliances, and more would be a start.
It would allow us to use all matter of fuels and powers.
One of these proposed fuels is the hydrogen fuel cell.
These fuel cells are particularly being proposed for powering electric cars.
Well, how do they work?
Hydrogen fuel cells are electrochemical devices that combine hydrogen and oxygen to produce electricity with water and heat as byproducts.
To create pure hydrogen, like in the fuel cells, you need to run strong electricity through H2O to split the hydrogen and oxygen. This means that it takes energy to split the two, but it also means when they are recombined, their reaction has a lot of energy output.
Basically, if you rejoin hydrogen and oxygen, energy is created.
And so that's how hydrogen fuel cells work.
What are the pros and cons?
Pros.
Zero emissions. Remember when we mentioned the only byproducts of the electricity was water and heat? The fuel cells only emit water and heat as a byproduct instead of the toxic fumes from gasoline. It helps the environment from greenhouse gases.
Hydrogen fuel cells cars are much more reliable than gasoline-fed cars, meaning their lifetime of use is excellent, on top of the regular benefits of electric vehicles.
Since the only thing is going in the engines is water and heat, the battery simply lasts much longer.
A hydrogen fuel infrastructure would be easier to maintain and cleaner than using our current fossil fuels, since it doesn't run out as easily. Now the cons.
The downside to using hydrogen fuel is that the current technology that we have to use is insufficient, and we do not have enough infrastructure for it to be successful and be correctly implemented.
Also, hydrogen is hard to transport safely because of the fact that one tiny spark of static electricity could cause a fuel to explode.
Hydrogen fuel cell cars will have a problem with charging the vehicle. Since hydrogen is hard to transport safely, refueling areas like gas stations will be very hard to create.
Hydrogen fuel will be worth it in the long run if we devote the time and the resources to develop the technology in this field and the proper safety methods for it.
Too bad the creator suddenly died in the middle of a restaurant while sipping on some water.
Oh, that reminds me of a terrible joke. 2 chemists walk into a bar. One tells the bartender, "I'll have H2O." The other says, "I'll have H2O too." The second chemist would die. Anyways.
It will greatly decrease our carbon emissions and make travel more efficient.
Currently, with the technology and infrastructure we have, it will be too tedious to create and make it efficient. However, there are other and far better ways to power a switch to electric infrastructure like
nuclear energy.
But that's a video for another day.